If it hurts today to see unjust people prosper, listen closely. You are not alone, you are not crazy, and you are not wasting your time by doing what is right. God did not leave this question unanswered. He shows you the answer, so your heart can rest and your sight can clear. Stay with me. In the next few minutes you will understand why it looks like the wicked do better and what really happens when the lights go off. And before this first block ends, I'll give you a simple key that cuts envy and brings back peace. Do this now to align your mind with the truth and strengthen your inner voice. Write in the comments, "I trust in God's justice." It's not decoration. It's a decision. Every time you repeat it, your heart remembers who rules history. There is an ancient scene that lays bare what you feel. An honest man with an agitated soul confessed, "I was about to fall because I saw the prosperity of the proud." He looked at the shine, the strength, the apparent ease, and he wondered if it was worth walking clean. Until something changed his focus, he entered the presence of God and understood the end of those paths. He saw they were on slippery ground, that they rose quickly but without root. He understood that not everything that rises holds, and not every calm is peace. Breathe and see it like this. Unjust success is fool's gold. It shines from afar. Up close it stains. It gives applause. It charges a high price. It promises height. It removes foundation. That's why it hooks so many and empties so many. It's noise that covers silences. It's a showcase without a home. Don't confuse the rush to be seen with the strength to be sustained. Whoever needs to put makeup on their life every day lives tired inside, even if they smile in photos. In 10 seconds, I'm going to tell you 3 stories that prove that success without truth sets up its own fall. Before that, I ask you to make a small commitment to your future. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell. Here you'll find content that speaks clearly, strengthens your practical faith, and gives you tools to live with peace. Let's keep going with the story's first story. A powerful man thought he was untouchable. He piled up chariots, soldiers, and pride. He chased the innocent to the edge of the sea. What looked like a sure path closed in over him. His strength became his ruin. He confused patience with absence. The long rope was not approval, it was an opportunity to change. He rejected it. He fell. Second story. An ambitious man built a perfect trap for a righteous man. He flaunted his rise, boasted about his achievements, enjoyed the adulation. The appointed day came, and he fell into the very pit he had dug. The trap you build against the truth ends up waiting for you. Pride leaves you blind to your own end. Third story. A king looked at his empire and said, "I did this." He took possession of the glory and lost his center. His mind clouded, his identity crumbled, and only then did he recognize that sovereignty did not belong to him. His prosperity had been a loan, not a perpetual throne. When someone declares themselves sufficient, reality reminds them that they are not. These scenes aren't a fable. They are a mirror. They teach a constant law. God opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. What is sown is what is reaped. If deception is sown, the harvest hurts. If truth is sown, the harvest brings peace. Maybe not in the first act, but always on time. Now let's look at your side of the story. Maybe you compare yourself with someone specific. A coworker who lies and signs contracts, an acquaintance who flaunts a perfect life with shortcuts, a person who humiliates and still gets applause. It happens. But staring at their showcase is choosing anxiety. No one uploads the cost of their soul to social media. You don't see the long, sleepless night, the fear of being exposed, the need for applause to feel valuable. The shine covers the void. That's why it needs so much noise. I want to give you a clear image for when you feel like you're falling behind. Weeds grow faster than the oak. Weeds show off their height in weeks. The oak takes years to sink its roots. The wind comes. The weeds are pulled out entirely. The oak barely sways. Which would you rather be? If you choose to be an oak, you accept the rhythm of the root. And the root is the peace of God, working in the invisible. In a few seconds, I'll share a 60-second practice to shut down envy when it attacks. Before that, hear this. Keeping quiet inside is not surrender. It's trust. Be still before God and wait for Him. Do not fret over those who prosper by doing evil. This silence doesn't make you passive. It makes you strong. It is the ground where wise decisions grow. 60-second practice. Next time you see a post that pricks you on the inside, stop and take 3 deep breaths. Say softly, God, turn off envy, turn on gratitude, steady my steps. Then write 3 concrete reasons to be grateful today. At the end, repeat, I don't compare, I trust, I move forward. As simple as it sounds, it moves your focus from someone else's showcase to the work God is already doing in you. Now let's go with mini keys that hold your heart when comparison tries to return. 1. Don't trust the photo of the first act. God's justice doesn't fail, and His timing is never late. It arrives on time. 2. Peace is not a luxury. It's a strategy. A mind at peace makes better decisions. Unjust success tempts you with prizes, but steals your peace. Without peace, there is no rest. Without rest, there is no clarity. 3. Excellence always pays. Maybe not today, maybe not loudly, but it pays. Doing what is right, even if no one applauds, builds you on the inside. What you do without applause, you can later sustain with applause. 4. The shortcut is expensive. It saves you time and charges you your identity. It lifts you up quickly and leaves you without a base. 5. Don't get irritated by apparent impunity. What a man sows that he will reap. Sow calm, sow truth, sow clean work. Those seeds do not betray. Let me paint another biblical scene that shows how God's hand acts while it seems nothing is happening. A young man was betrayed, accused without proof, and imprisoned. Years later, the place where he was humiliated became a door. The interpretation he carried within put him at the front. What others intended for harm, God used for good. It wasn't magic. It was a process. The pain trained him to care for what he would later lead. What happened to those who pushed for his fall? They disappeared from the story. What happened to him? He remained. Another scene. A brave musician was hunted. He had the chance to take revenge. He didn't. He chose truth over impulse. Years later, he rose to the place that belonged to him. He rose with peace, not with fear. Because the way you arrive defines the way you sustain. Whoever arrives with a trick sustains with a trick. Whoever arrives with truth sustains with truth. If this message is speaking to you, leave your mark and boost the video's retention with a simple gesture that also strengthens your focus. Comment now, I trust in God's justice, and write which decision of excellence you're going to take today. That public declaration will keep you on the path when comparison tries to distract you. Let's go back to Asaf's soul. He admitted that envy made him clumsy. He said his heart turned bitter, that he lost clarity. Then when he looked to God, his heart aligned. He discovered that God's presence is not theory. It's concrete guidance. You are always with me. You take my hand, you guide me with your counsel. Afterward, you will receive me into glory. That image is powerful. You don't advance alone. A firm hand leads you across real terrain. Sometimes it's narrow, yes, but it is safe. Carry these 4 metaphors with you and use them as many times as needed. Fool's gold, it shines, it stains. Slippery ground, it runs fast, it falls hard. Tree by the river, it grows without noise, it withstands drought. House on the rock, it rains, it blows, it remains. Each metaphor is an anchor for your mind when the smoke of someone else's success tries to cloud you. Ask yourself now, what defines prosperity for me? If it's only money, numbers, screens, I'm measuring with a short ruler. Real prosperity includes peace, character, clean relationships, purpose, rest, stable provision. It's not about romanticizing scarcity or demonizing abundance. It's about recognizing that what begins without God ends without peace, and that what begins with God can pass through storms without breaking. Let's take a focus pause. Close your eyes for a moment and say slowly, God, reorder my desires. Give me a hunger for truth, not for noise. Give me a taste for excellence, not for shortcuts. Teach me to enjoy the process without envying the showcase. Your timing is perfect. When the temptation comes to do justice my way, remember, anxiety pushes, faith leads. Anxiety drives you to expose, to respond from anger, to prove your worth to people who don't deserve it. Faith moves you to build, to edify, to move with wisdom. Trust in the Lord and do good. Do good. That's the strategy. Goodness doesn't shout, but it wins. I want to leave you a simple guide for the next 7 days, a discipline that strengthens the heart and dries up comparison. Every night, write 3 reasons for gratitude and 1 decision of excellence for tomorrow. Tomorrow, fulfill that decision. Repeat. In a week, your focus shifts. Where you used to stare at someone else's showcase, now you see God's workshop in you. And the workshop is more real than the showcase. Maybe at this point you say, I understand the theory, but it hurts to see them prosper. I know, the pain is real. That's why the answer isn't a slogan. It's a new way of seeing. God's justice is non-negotiable. It may come quietly, but it always comes. And when it comes, the false falls on its own. It's not your job to push. Your job is to remain. Remember the words that activate your mind when envy whispers, I keep calm. God is still in charge. My time comes without shortcuts, shine without roots, falls on its own. I walk in truth. Repeat until it becomes natural. You're not deceiving yourself. You're training your heart. Now a brief story to seal the ideas. 2 craftsmen worked on the same street. One made solid furniture, well-joined, cured wood, patience in every joint. The other made hollow pieces, shiny outside, fragile inside. The second sold a lot at first. People applauded him. Winter's damp arrived. The hollow furniture swelled and came apart. The patient craftsman's pieces stayed firm. People returned. The patient craftsman didn't change the way he worked when no one was looking, so he didn't have to change it when everyone was watching. That's how truth works. If at some point you drifted, if you imitated a shortcut, today is a good day to return. God doesn't humiliate you for coming back. He takes you by the hand and sets you on the way. What you lost by trying to get there fast can be recovered with new roots. The time that felt lost becomes foundation when you give it to God. I want to speak to you directly before closing. This channel exists to remind you that you are not at the mercy of the noise, that there is a way to move forward with peace, that God cares for those who trust, and that someone else's shine doesn't define your value. If you want to walk accompanied, subscribe now and turn on the bell. Here you'll find clear words, practical tools, and simple direction for each week. And if this message stirred something inside, leave your testimony. At what moment were you most tempted to compare yourself, and what will you do differently starting today? Also write, I trust in God's justice. That phrase could be the turn you needed. Share this video with someone who today feels like they're losing because they refuse to cheat. Remind them that good doesn't arrive late, it arrives on time. And if the buzz of the question, why do the unjust prosper, remains, listen again. Not because you lack faith, but because the layers of noise peel off little by little. What looks like lightning burns out. What is dawn grows and stays. May God's peace guard you. May your heart choose foundation over smoke. When you look at the world's showcase, remember that the house that stands is the one built from the inside out. If you decide today to let go of comparison, say it out loud and write it to seal it. I trust in God's justice. Here we walk together. Here we learn to look beyond the shine. Here we choose root, truth, and peace.